5 signs that life coaching may be the profession for you.
Mhm.
Sign number 1, you have an innate desire to help those you love and serve. That I think is universal across every single one of the students who comes into the MRA. They have this innate desire to serve and to help and to make this world a better place in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. And there's so many different ways to help. There's so many different types of personalities that want to express that help in so many different ways. There's so many different types of people, organizations, causes, themes to help around. Not one particular way of helping or a group of people or cause is better than another or is more aligned with the coaching profession than another. So there's this huge sea of possibilities in terms of how that help naturally wants to be expressed.
Yeah. And I think that you can recognize that in yourself because you have this desire to help. You might be really, really good at solutioning and helping people fix their problems. You might have gone through a past experience that has left you better on the other side, like some really deep growth or, spiritual, mental growth that you've done, that you've overcome challenges, overcome hardships, and come out stronger, better, and a more authentic version of yourself on the other side. And that might feel like, oh, I just wish everyone else could know what I know or have learned what I've learned. And I just want to share this wisdom. I want to share this knowledge with others. So that's how it could feel or could be expressed.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a phrase, there's so many versions of this phrase, but be the person you needed when. And I think that's so true. I think when someone goes through something really challenging and is standing there happier or more whole or, triumphant on the other side, there can be a natural desire to turn to look back to others who are climbing that same hill and want to just reach a hand and, it's okay. You can make it.
Yeah. Okay. Sign number 2, you're the go-to person for your people. And perhaps for not even just your people. You might be the go-to person for complete strangers as well. If you find yourself being that go-to person, the person that people turn to, go to, want to talk to, complete strangers might just feel so comfortable sharing really intimate details or vulnerabilities or challenges in their life. That's a sign that there's something magnetic about you that people are drawn to.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you also hear, it's so easy to talk to you. I've never told anybody this. You're such a good listener.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening to me. Thanks so much for hearing me. I can't believe I just told you all of that.
Yeah. Perhaps in friendships, there's the dynamic where you are the first place your friends turn when they're feeling emotional and they need support. And so true also strangers. You're the person that on the airplane or on the bus, the person beside you has just, laid their life story out in front of you or is asking you for advice or telling you secrets.
Yeah. Sign number 3, you are naturally and probably always have been deeply curious about human behavior, why people do the things they want to do. If you've gone to university or college, you've probably done at least one psychology class as your elective, but you're deeply curious about what motivates people, what makes people tick, what are people thinking inside. You're just deeply curious.
Yeah. And maybe also drawn to other systems, not just psychology, but perhaps astrology calls to you, or the Enneagram, or human design, different systems that help shed light on human behavior, human dynamics. You're probably also quite introspective and curious about your own behavior. Why am I the way that I am? Why do I do this? Why do others do this? Why am I stuck in this pattern? You're curious about yourself and others.
Sign number 4, superficial conversations just don't do it for you. You are drawn to depth. You're drawn to real, vulnerable, honest, true conversations with others.
One way this can show up is certain social situations that at one period of time might have felt fine are becoming intolerable. Not that you have anything against the people or whatever, but places where conversation's a little more superficial or patterns are less intentional. Being in those places might feel less and less tolerable for you.
I think by nature, people who are drawn to life coaching and to coaching as a profession, whether it be in the realm of life, corporate, business, whatever it might be, they live deeply examined lives themselves. They want to understand how they work, what's going on inside of them. They want to explore their feelings, their dreams, their yearnings for their life, their limiting beliefs, what's holding them back. They're naturally drawn inward and curious about themselves. And because people are able to go inward into their depths, those are the conversations you want to have with others. So the superficial conversations become increasingly more challenging to have,
Maybe even frustrating.
maybe even tiring.
Yeah. This yearning for depth in your own life and depth of connection with others, it makes you less interested in quick fixes, band-aid solutions, one size fits all approaches, ways of thinking. As you're sinking into the depths of like the big questions of yourself and your life and with others, there's a sense of exploration in there. Almost like a deep sea diver type exploration, but inward in yourself, looking for the deep, complex, nuanced, and truest, most meaningful answers that are to be found inside of you in your own life and for others as well.
Beautiful. Sign number 5, you're moving throughout the world, especially in the realm of vocation, but this could be true in other areas of your life, but you're moving throughout the world thinking, there has got to be more to life than this. That's a big one. That's a big sign. There's got to be more to life than this. In my experience in the corporate world, that depth of connection that you were just talking about with others, I craved that in the corporate world. I craved that in my vocation. I wanted to do deep, meaningful, impactful work. And I couldn't quite find that in the various roles I was working inside the corporate environment. And why I was drawn to coaching was to be able to create that impact, to have those deep connections with others. And we spend 1/3 of our lives at work on average. The average human spends 1/3 of their lives at work. And I remember coming back after maternity leaves and thinking, I'm here for 1/3 of my life and not feeling passionate, engaged in my job while my kids are at home in daycare. That was like a line in the sand moment for me when I thought, no, there has to be more to life than this. There has to be something else where I can create a meaningful vocation for myself that honors who I am and how I want to serve.
It's funny because you came at this from the total opposite end of the spectrum as me. So here you were fully doing the corporate thing. And obviously, that deep yearning drew you here to something more meaningful. I started on the other end of the spectrum as like, no, if this doesn't feel meaningful, I cannot enter. For a really long time, I actually associated any type of work with a lack of meaning, a big X, just because anything I was exposed to, sure, I knew of people with missions or jobs that sounded really lovely, but anything around me that seemed accessible, when I touched it to feel it out, it didn't feel like it was important enough. It didn't feel like there was enough meaning. And I actually wondered for a while, I'm probably just like not meant to work. You know, all those memes online that are something like not meant to work, meant to be like a mermaid in a lagoon, or not meant to work, meant to like lay down on a mossy floor in the forest. I resonate with those so deeply. To me, there's so much beauty in the natural world. There's so much beauty with being with my children or just like moments of simplicity that for me to want to step into something and put my energy towards it, it has to be as meaningful as those other things. And that bar is really high for me. To make it into the category that you're on par with like the beauty of my garden, it's got to be really meaningful and have so much integrity. But either way, it's a yearning for deep meaning, that sense of if work is worth doing, it's got to be something special. It's got to be meaningful. So that's really interesting where we meet in the middle. So some people might resonate on your end with like, oh, I would love to leave my corporate job. But there might even be other people on my end being like, I'm not meant to work. I'm not meant to leave my garden. I want to be a hermit in the woods. It's actually been incredibly healing for me realizing that no, it is possible. There are things that actually feel so good to put my energy towards that are not just about me or my family or my property, that actually are going out and meeting the world and other people. It's really healing to know that there is good work, aligned work that has integrity and makes me feel proud.
And on the other side of the spectrum, another kind of corner of this are people who are here to make greater impact in their current role or in the corporate world. People who are looking around, maybe looking around their organization, their department, their team, thinking, oh, I want to make impact here. I want to serve here. I want more meaning here. There's got to be more for me here. And we see that increasingly as coaching becomes more integrated in workplaces. We see leaders embracing coaching skills. We see individual contributors embracing coaching skills and bringing that skill set into the corporate world. And that's changing the landscape of corporations and teams.